Good day and welcome to On Power and Purpose. Today I have my panel of guests. Give Vuthile vandag, guys. But anyway, we are going to be talking about going with the flow. So we're going to be talking about the impact of going with the flow. And I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm Renee Malay, and on my left is...
Hi, my name is Vasi, and on my far right...
You can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Uncle Kenny. I go by the name of K Rings, and then I've got two people on my right.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica, and on my right.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Eamon. I'm shy. On my right. Okay.
Just like in your life.
I love it. I love it here. So you're gonna be talking about going with the flow. What comes into your minds when you talk about going with the flow? Vusi, what comes into your mind like when you talk about going with the flow?
I think it's just in the alarm red flags when somebody says, I'm going with the flow. You know, Jake, so and since somebody says, let's go with the flow, it's just like red flags all over the place, you know. So for me, it's just one of those moments that I just see it as a danger.
I've experienced the going with the flow. It actually isn't that bad, guys. You almost tried. I'm kidding. I've had my fair share of going with the flow, and actually, it does say a lot about what are the intentions of the person in your life. It's like a person does not have the intentions, and they just want to see let's just see where we're going to build. So there's no aim, there's no goal, and there's no whole purpose of why I want you in my life. So it's just a matter of, do you know what, you single, I'm single. Let's just see what we can do out of the single life that we're in. You know, so that's just what I take of going with the flow. I don't know about you, Eamon. What you got?
Well, he's speaking about red flags. I see white flags, so the combination is red and white. Valentine's, who knows? That's how we go with the flow. Yeah. Now, giving each other mics, just going with the flow. Should also pass the mic again. Okay, on a serious note, going with the flow. In essence, it's not a good thing, because if you think of it, when we come together and want to achieve something, we have to have limits and standards and how we prioritize ourselves. So if we happen to go with the flow in a sense that we just leave because of leaving, that means there's no direction, and that's just, like he said, it's a red flag. That's danger. Why would you want to participate in an event where there's no direction, where there's no any standards set about life? So it's just a pure red flag and the dangers of existence. I don't think there's anybody who wants to find themselves in there, especially if that person perceives themselves as realist and who have direction in life.
It's getting hard in here. You can go, Jessica.
When I hear about going with the flow, for me, it's a red flag as well, because for me it's like taking a journey and you don't know where you're going. So I can't just step out of the house and I just leave without not knowing where I'm going. So for me, when you come and say let's go with the flow, I mean, you know, there's no direction. Where are we going? Because we might end up in the middle of nowhere, and then so for me, red flag.
Kelly.
The flow, ne? Where we flow into. From where? How are we flowing? You know the Pacific Ocean flows from Asia to, it's like 600 kilometers. So if I go with the flow, meaning I'll just be floating for 600 kilometers. I don't know where I'm going.
That's true.
In the middle of nowhere, I'm just floating. So I think on my side, I would like to know where we're flowing to if we're going with the flow. We must be flowing somewhere because we're flowing. Yeah, so I think it's good to know where you flow into. If you are going with the flow, you should be going somewhere, not just flowing like the Pacific Ocean.
For me, it makes me question a man's leadership skills on where is he leading me to, and what are his leadership? Where are we going in the ship that he's leading? You know what I mean? So it has gotten to a point where I just feel like I've experienced that. I don't know if but I can share a story because I don't mind, y'all. But I've had an experience where I've met this guy and I was like, hey, so we liked each other, you know, that thing of let's just, you know, go with the
Go with the
flow.
flow.
And I was like, I can say going with the flow. And I've made the right decision. I'm like, you know what? If you don't know what you want, if you don't know what we're going to do, I'm definitely not getting into the relationship with you. And for me, later on, it was like, I'm so thankful because should I have let this person to get into my life, we wouldn't have had any direction and we would have broken up because we'd have like different direction that we're going. I'm going this way, he's going with the flow. You know what I mean? So both of us are not in line with where we are going, where we want to go. You know what I mean? So for me, I had to be so aware and be so willing to lose the relationship before even getting into it. So it was just, hey, I like you, all right, cool, let's get to know each other. And then it's like, okay, cool, what's going to happen when we get to know each other? Because along the process of getting to know each other, you develop feelings. So let's not lead each other into this while we know very well that there's no reason to, there's no purpose of us doing all the things that like going all out and over. So don't open a space, or let me say, don't open a room for me where you are not willing to get into, and just opening it, just get into it, and then you leave me in that, you know. So for me, I had to be so willing to lose the relationship before I even get into it, you know. So it's like, okay, cool, you like me, we like each other, but let it just end there, you know. So yeah.
So are you saying while going with the flow, you shouldn't develop feelings, or the flow shouldn't include feelings?
Okay, so it's getting to know each other. When we get to know each other, there's going to be feelings. I'm probably going to be liking things, you know what I mean, that I like about you. And suddenly, we now can't even confirm what we're going into, you know. There's no title. So it's like you want the relationship, but you don't want to take the responsibility in the relationship. Because should you say that, hey, dude, I'm not your girlfriend, it's okay for you to say that you're not my girlfriend because we've never agreed to anything, you know what I mean. But if we were to say that, hey, listen, we're in a relationship, you'll be responsible. So it's a matter of not wanting to take account into the relationship. So it feels so easier to just go with the flow than to want to take a responsibility in it, you know. So just
if I just need to add one thing, is that when you go with the flow, it will come to a point where that flow will stop. Right. So we don't really ask correct questions in a very same point where somebody says, let's go with the flow, because we need to ask correct questions. Rule of engagement. Where are we going? Like Kenny was saying, where are we going? What does this thing going in the flow include? Does it include you that I can't call you and ask you where you are? Because when people say, I want to go with the flow, it's simple. The I don't want commitment. It's as simple as that. Say, I don't want to commit, because now I'm just going with the flow. If it happens that tomorrow I don't come back home, don't ask me where I am, because our flow says we can't talk about where I was, you know. So I think it's very critical at the first stage when somebody says, let's go with the flow. And then we just have to understand, where is this flow going? Where is it taking us to? You know, because you can't just go with the flow for the sake of going with the flow. You need to know the rules of engagement. You know, what does it include, this going in the flow? Does it include you coming and going as you please? Does it include you doing whatever that you please? You know, and then you can able to make your sober decision based on that particular decision or what that they're telling you to. Yeah.
Thank you very much. The mic, that's a flow. And so far, well, as far as I'm concerned, I think there's types of flow, right? So I at least know 3 types of flow. There's Lumina flow, turbulent flow, and free flow. All right? Yeah. There's 3 types of flows. At least I know 3 types of flow: Lumina flow, turbulent flow, and free flow. So Lumina flow, it's when the season or seasonal flow where things go smooth. Like the river when it flows in a very smooth way, that's Lumina flow. Now, turbulence flow is when things are opposite. The flow is no longer how it was. So the waves are so much that, you know, whatever that we are in right now has been disrupted by the nature or the forces. In this case, the wind or the season is just up. It's not how it was. Now the free flow, it's just really simple. The non-commitment. Anyhow, it just happens anyhow. So now, if ever one says, I just want to be in the flow, exactly, they must precisely state which one with precision. If you want to be in the turbulent flow, let's go for turbulent flow. That's that we know that one is in it for trouble. So if it's going to be Lumina flow, we're just going to be in a good seasonal state where we feel like if things are good, then let's be good. If it's free flow where there's non-commitment, in and out however you want, then it's going to be like that. So what you said was very much, I certify what you said when you say some people are in it for the sake of not wanting to commit, and commitment is key. Commitment is different from settling. If you settle, it means you taking it because you're not so sure about whatever's happening. So you just want to settle because you feel that the circumstances of life have somehow overpowered you, so you just want to settle and just let go of it. But when you commit, that's when you set everything on point. You prioritize and you standardize your ways of living. So if ever one wants to go with the flow, they must precisely state and say, I want this type of flow. So is it a free flow? Does it allow me to maneuver anyhow I want? So that means we are still playing. Now, if you're just going to go for it and somebody tells you, I just want to be in a turbulent flow, that means we are in this for trouble. So are we just into this for trouble? Are you going to cause me trouble? What type of trouble is it? If you're there for Lumina flow, you want to flow when things are right, so which means we haven't really found ourselves. So in that case, that's where settlement comes in. So there's no need to settle if you don't really understand where you're going. So there's no need for anybody to say, I'm going to flow for the sake of it if there's no commitment. So commitment is key. That's why I'm actually echoing what you're saying, if you can pick up. Do you understand? Really, that's my take.
Going with the flow, Lumina flow. Wow. We're learning today.
Yeah, I thought it's the wave one.
There's turbulence. Turbulence is when things are not going okay. So that's why when you're on the plane, they say the winds are not okay. There's turbulence. There's problems going on. So some people are in a relationship for such. They just want to cause you trouble, but not saying that I'm in here for a turbulent flow.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you engage, or when somebody, because I'm just picking up on your point that some people get into a relationship to just cause you trouble.
Yeah.
How do they? I mean, do they come to you with the intentions of? Let's just go with the flow. What trouble are you talking about?
You know, there are those people, for instance, as a single man like that, and they know your status quo. This man is Dr. Love. He's capable of 1, 2, 3. Now, a lady will be used by outside factors to cause you to disrupt that peace from you.
Yeah.
So when this lady comes, she doesn't come in and intend to empower you, but to make you lose focus from who you are and what you stand for.
Okay.
By the outside forces. Remember, people are being governed by outside forces. Now, if I can hit on it just a little bit. We are controlled by our system, which is the consciousness.
Yeah.
So the consciousness is being affected by the environment. Now, I said to my other friend, I think I also said this to you there, the atmosphere is full of frequencies.
Okay.
Now, these frequencies have always been there long time before technology has been advanced. Today we know of microwave, radio wave, infrared, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. So does that mean Wi-Fi has been discovered today? No, the waves of Wi-Fi have been there long time, but the devices which were designed for the Wi-Fi are capable of detecting the waves on the atmosphere.
Okay.
So now the very same atmosphere consists of the frequencies that affects a person's consciousness. So now, if a person is not quite aware of what controls them, that person is an agent of destruction. They become the victims. Now, what is the perpetrator? The atmosphere. So if the atmosphere charges to this victim is able to become a tool to make you dysfunctional from where you are, where you stand. So when this agent comes, doesn't say I'm coming here for trouble,
Okay.
but the outcome factor, when you sit and look at it, you're like, this person is from a different angle.
Yeah.
So do you
okay.
get what I'm saying? So when they come into your life, they're there. This is a turbulent flow. She's there to disrupt what you are and what you're made of.
Okay.
Do you get it?
I get it.
Thank
now.
you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anybody's take?
There you go. She's like, come with your sick. She's like, are you fine? Do you wanna?
I'm cool.
You go for now.
Okay. So someone comes to cause trouble. Okay, that's deep.
It is.
I'm going to like wave away from it, from the causing trouble factor. For me, going with the flow, it exposes your maturity. For me, as a man, so it's like, okay, you want to test drive. You want to be at like low temperature, just to see if you can live or not. You know. So when you validate things and then set a direction, then it shows that you're serious. Because you know, when you commit, you are making a decision that whether the circumstances or challenges will withstand it, because I made a decision. But then when you say I'm going with the flow, then you're waiting for anything, whatever that you don't like, or you pick up a negative vibe, then you know there's an exit. But then when you took a decision and then there's a commitment, then you know that, okay, if this is wrong, then I'll rectify it. I'll fight to rectify it. Then you will have that strength to fight, or that positivity of like, okay, yeah, so I will fight for this because I made a decision. So I actually see it as making a decision, to say I take this. Because once you make a decision to take something, then you do everything to have it by your side. So you will fight to keep it. So if you're going with the flow, then you're not going to fight for everything.
What you're saying is so true, guys. I've had the experience again.
A different one from the other one or the same one?
Renee's experiencing things, eh?
Did she had?
She keeps on experiencing things.
No, but I don't date them. Why?
No, I'm talking about the flow.
The flow.
The flow ones, they
The
come.
flows.
Shembona, they come. Literally, they come. Okay, so what happened was, so with this one, it was, I made my intentions very clear. I made what I wanted very clear, and it was like, this is me, this is what I want. And I do ask those questions for what are your intentions into the relationship? And it's like, listen, I'm looking for someone that I can commit to. I'm looking for a partner as well. I'm like, all right, cool. We're together. There's no going with the flow. But along the way, when someone saw that the requirements of keeping the relationship will require him to change and will also require me to change as well, it was hard to attain it, because now it has there's a certain character or there's certain things that you have to let go of, you know what I mean, for you to keep the relationship, And I think with me, it was one of the things that he was like, you know what, I mean it. No matter what, honey, like, I struggle getting somebody like you. And I'm like, what? So we're like, we're going in, and then I think few days later, that's when I think I've also explained on my previous conversation that I had with you that it was when he sent me a certain picture, and I'm just like, no, I'm not going to stay, because this person won't be able to protect me, won't be able to lead me. But I think when I came with the broke up, what hurt me the most was the fact that when he said that, but we could have just went with the flow. I mean, it wasn't that hard, you know what I mean? So the fact that he had no right intention to stay, regardless of what we could face. So it was like, okay, cool, there's no sex, we might as well go, even with the intentions at first when we communicated that, listen, this is me, this is where I stand with my boundaries, this is where I stand with my beliefs, and with, listen, I will stay regardless. And then along the way, it's a matter of seeing that, okay, cool, I'm not going to be able to change this person, and because you were not committed initially, it is so easy for you to just let go. You know what I mean? Because the intentions that you had and the intentions that I had, they were different. So if you get into it with different intentions as well, there's no way that he's going to commit. Because like I think we've mentioned this earlier, okay, where you're like, they just never say it, but they just go with the flow. You know what I mean? So it was that thing where he never said it that I'm going with the flow with you, but it was let's see where we can go, let's see if I can convince you, let's see if we can make it work without this. And you're now just working on let's see, and there's no commitment that regardless of this I will wait, regardless of this me and you were gonna make it work. So even though we were two healthy people loving each other, but for the fact that he was not willing to fight and I was not willing to get into it with his requirements, it kind of took things and it made things to fall apart. You know what I mean? And it was just with that one thing that no matter how deep you connect, no matter the person might tick all those most boxes, but if it has to compromise the one important thing that I value so much, then I'd rather let you go. So it's one of those things.
Maybe the question that maybe I can pose to anyone in the panel, because when we're thinking about, I pick up something to say, it's like it's us guys who really comes with this notion of let's go with the flow. I think it's us who maybe proposes or put it forward, because Agniti is Shelai. So I just want to get the view. Is it a norm from us to guys to suggest that? And perhaps maybe why do we suggest that? Because if, for instance, I know that I like this woman so much and I want to be with her, maybe I've been hurt previously and I don't want to commit easy. I'm using that as a let's go with the flow. But I know that my intentions as well is to really be with her, because I cannot also use let's go with the flow as a bad thing. You know, it could be I want to be with her, but I'm scared to commit on the first day or on the first week. I don't know if maybe you're getting my point to say, do we say it or do we keep quiet about it? You know, I've asked too many questions there, but you can just pick up where maybe I'm trying to drive this point to saying, it seems as if it's us who leads these people to say, let's go with the flow. It's not them, because actually we go to them to share them, you know, and when we share them, we already put that notion to them, and we know just going to flow. Because they're going to ask us, what are your intentions with me, like you're saying, and to say, what are you intending to do with this relationship? Now, because it's early days, and therefore I'm saying like, no, let's go with the flow. So like does it really have to be that way to say, let's go with the flow?
I think as guys, we always say when we're going with the flow. But ladies, I believe they don't tell you that you're going with the flow.
Oh, okay.
So
guys, could it be that they also have that back in the mind to say they're going with the flow, but they don't really say it to us to say, no, we're just going with the flow?
Yes, ladies don't say when they want to go with the flow.
Oh, okay. They pretend as if maybe they...
No, they want you to state your intentions. But them, when it's on their side, they want to go with the flow, they won't state their intention. That
they're just going with the flow. Oh, okay.
Going with the flow. But with guys will say, you know what, I'm not ready to commit.
Yeah.
They'll give all the reasons in the world. There's so many reasons that they'll give out to say, girl, we'll see.
We'll see. So we'll pambili.
Yeah, so when pambili, actually.
And that's faith on the other direction.
Yeah,
no, you can challenge that. You can challenge that. We might be not giving it a terminology of correcting, because when you look into it in a very deep consent. The English is running away from me. But what I'm trying to say, or what I'm trying to bring across, is to saying, when you do things that are not sin. Mm-hmm. So says the Bible. You know, we work by faith, not by sight. So magnetism is obona pambili is good. Girl, I'm with you. Maybe the terminology part is what really kills us, because people used to turn what is good and make it to look bad. Because when I say let's go with the flow, I'm saying we are flowing. We are.
Yeah,
we are. We might be flowing.